And my fear is in the end, it's still because because it's retrospective data, in other words, data that's already collected that you're kind of looking back in time at.
But no, follow up with them now.
Yeah. But and even try to follow up now, like try to contact them saying, hey, we want to do a study and seeing how you're doing it, is that you'll still run into issues with selection biases of people who respond to this because you can't mandate, say you have to participate in the study or you're going to jail. It's kind of like some people will respond. So I think it's worth doing. I don't want to make it seem like poo-poo, let's not even bother doing it. I still think it's going to leave a lot of open questions, and no matter which way that data turns out, whether it comes out with a pro-trans spin, like, oh, most people are doing great, or it comes out with an anti-trans spin, like, hey, there's a lot of detransitioners here, is that people will be able to comment on all the flaws. Oh, we're missing these patients. Who knows about them? The data's kind of dodgy because people didn't actually write down. Just because the doctor said they were happy, does that mean they were really happy? It's going to be like that kind of those kind of issues are going to come up. And so I think even though I agree that that study should be done, and I share Cass's disappointment with these clinics who are kind of like, no, you can't have my data. And the reasons they give aren't just, oh, you can't have my data. It's more like patient privacy issues and patients didn't consent to have their adult data looked at in this way, which, you can make arguments for. But I still think in the end, it's not going to answer a lot of the questions, like what is the natural history of untreated dysphoria? What are the short-term complications of puberty blockers that make me feel that this study is still necessary. And then the second concern about like puberty, which is like something we share too, which is that I think puberty is super important. Like I think it's very bad not to go through puberty at all. And it's probably bad not to go through puberty at the right time. We all understand the consequences of precocious puberty. Like what happens when your body makes a mistake and starts puberty at a very young age. That's a bad thing because it might increase the risk of future reproductive related malignancies, particularly in young girls. The brain is not equipped to handle those kind of bodily changes when you're 7 or 8. Like you're not going to get any argument to me that this is a condition that should be treated, but we should treat it because it's happening at the wrong time. And I share the concerns that blocking puberty. I know a lot of gender care activists have minimized the concerns. They're like, whatever, puberty, you stop it, start again later, who cares? Everything's going to be just fine. And maybe a lot of things do end up just fine. Or they extrapolate the precocious puberty data and say, well, like some precocious puberty, everyone turns out fine. Now it's going to be the same for gender dysphoric kids. When I don't think that's a reasonable assumption. But to me, I look at that and say, yeah, I want to know the answer to this. We should study it. Even if it won't turn out to be the answer that I like in terms of like showing that puberty blockers are safe and effective, I still think we should study it as opposed to being, well, we don't know and we're never going to know and tough luck, people.
Could there be an animal study equivalent? Because things like effects on the brain, effects on the skeletal system, these things independent of people's thoughts and feelings about gender.
Yeah. So I think animal studies are an important adjunct. And, I think we've both seen Sally Baxendale's presentation about that she did at GenSpect about cognition.